Welcome back to Moody Kids Momcast. I'm your host, Chris, and today we have a special guest, founder of Arizona Professional Car Seat Installations, Ernie.
Hey, Miss Chris, how you doing? Thank you for
Hello.
having me.
Well, I'm very happy to have you here. As you can see, I'm a little nervous, but I'm excited. And I thought that it would be dope to have you on just for what you're doing for the community and how moms from my business could benefit from the knowledge that you would give. I think that especially with new moms is very important to have these conversations about car seats and things and such. And not even just new moms, but moms who've been doing this for a while. So I'm excited. And tell me how you got started.
So this is something that I learned how to do in my profession as a firefighter. I was introduced to car seat installation on the job. At first, it was just a way to kind of make some overtime, some extra money.
Hmm.
Then they put me through a class, and once I went through that class, it was kind of like a aha moment because it was so many things that I didn't know.
Hmm.
I just had my son when I went through the class, and I literally just grabbed the car seat out of the box and I just hooked it up just the best way I could, and it wasn't. I didn't read the directions. I just kind of just threw it in there, and it seemed safe. So I was like, "Cool, it looks like it's in right." But when I went through the class, I realized, how much how important car seats are,
Hmm.
especially when when they're not installed correctly. The damage that could be done to children,
Literally
and
life or death.
literally life or death,
Hmm.
right? And also, I didn't realize how many car crashes or car accidents happen every day. You know what I'm saying? I have a statistic that we'll probably get into a little later, but car accidents happen probably about every 5 seconds
Yes.
throughout the United States,
Hmm.
right? I also found out that car crashes are the leading cause of death for children under the age of 8 years old. Right, so that was a big aha moment for me. And once I realized that, I really hit the ground rolling hard, trying to be at every car seat event that I possibly could be. And then I noticed something because the fire department offers car seat installations Thursday, Fridays, and Saturdays,
Hmm.
and then they do monthly community events, right, that are open to the public.
Yes.
Every time I did an event through the department, people talk about how long it took them to get this appointment, right?
Mm.
And it was like, well, I've been trying to get this appointment for a month, and I already had the baby, and the car seat still isn't installed. And it's like, wow, okay. So now I kept hearing it, and I kept hearing it, and I kept hearing it, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna feel that need. You know what I mean?
I didn't even think that because I never went to a fire department to have my car seat installed. Just like you, I installed it and we was rocking and rolling. But I didn't know you had to make an appointment to go to the fire department. I thought you just pull up and they help you.
No, so they won't do that because you have to be a certified car seat technician
Got you.
in order to be eligible to install or educate people on
Got you.
car seat safety information, right? So if you just pull up to a fire station and nobody there is certified, nobody wants to touch that because it's a lot of liability, right?
Yes.
Because even for me as a technician, that's why I don't do car seat installations, even though that's the name of my business. I don't do car seat installations. I do car seat demonstrations, right?
Got you.
So I'll install the car seat for the parent, and then I'll uninstall it, and then I'll allow the parent to install it themselves, and that's killing two birds with one stone essentially, because now you know how to do it and you don't need me anymore, right?
Yeah.
That's the idea. I'm gonna teach you how to do it. You're gonna show me that you can do it. Most of the time it takes people 3 to 5 times to actually start getting it, and then once they get it, they got it. Right,
Yeah.
now it's a skill, right? So
Hmm.
now what happens is, I don't know if you experienced this, but I know I have, and my wife has. When we go to get our car wash at the car wash, right?
Hmm.
Every time we get the car back, the car seat is in a different position,
Hmm.
right? So if I'm not there and I have a parent who came and got car seat education and she didn't learn how to install it herself, well, now she got to make another appointment.
Yeah, that's so
And
true.
until she gets to that appointment, that baby is riding unsafe, right?
Yes.
So that's the meat and potatoes of it.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
And that makes a lot of sense. And that's just something that we don't think is important. We kind of like don't put a lot of emphasis on it. But it's so funny because I got introduced to your company by being at the basketball events, and my friend actually went to one of your seminar or your presentations,
Oh, okay.
and she has twins, so she bought the twins the same car seat, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because they're twins.
Yeah.
You think that that's normal.
Yeah.
But one twin is bigger than the other, so one weighs more, one weighs less, and one should have been one should have progressed in the car seat, and one should have stayed in it a little longer. And that's something that you learn by attending these events and these seminars, learning more about car seats. So I just thought that that was kind of funny, and how the lack of knowledge that we have. I remember when my baby, when we first transitioned him from the convertible, I think it's
Mm-hmm.
called, car seat, to the booster, how I just didn't feel right. Like I just didn't feel like he was harnessed in good enough. Like he wasn't safe to me. So we ended up, going back to the convertible. But it's just those instances that I had for me that a lot of people probably wouldn't even think twice about. And so that's why for me I thought it was important, to get that information out to educate the public. So yeah. What are different types of car seats available for children, and how do parents know which one is right for their child?
Okay, great question. So you got the infant carrier. Then from the infant carrier, a child graduates to a convertible, and then from a convertible, a child graduates to um, a booster.
Hmm.
A booster with the back,
Yes.
right? Because the boosters with the back still have a harness, a 5 point harness. And then from the booster with the back, you go to the booster without a back,
Hmm.
right? So the differences between these car seats, right? So the infant carrier usually comes with the base, right? The base is super convenient, right? Because you have a child, you have a family who has a child with multiple cars, right? So instead of having to, with the infant carrier, instead of having to buy multiple car seats, you just buy one infant carrier with two bases,
Yeah.
right? So now you install the bases in both cars.
Hmm.
So now whoever gets the kid, all they have to do is take the infant carrier, lock it into the base, and boom, you good to go. As opposed to having to spend extra money on two separate car seats, right?
Yeah.
Bases are typically cheaper, right? Infant carriers are typically cheaper than your convertible or your we have a car seat out there that's called an all-in-one,
Yeah.
right? So that's a car seat that stays with you from when the baby is born up until a booster. A
Hmm.
lot of all-in-ones turns into no back boosters,
Hmm.
right? So I encourage parents to spend. They're a little more expensive. I encourage parents to go ahead and bite the bullet if they can, and pay the money up front to get you a car seat that's going to last you the life of your child
Yeah.
for as long as they need to be in the car seat, right?
Yeah.
Because of all-in-one, you have you have rear facing, forward facing, and then you have the booster settings,
Hmm.
right? So like I said, the all-in-ones are a little more expensive, but you have pretty much three car seats in one,
Yeah.
right? So if you got a new baby, right? You got a newborn baby. Infant carrier is what you want. Infant carriers are rear facing only. You
Hmm.
can't flip a infant carrier forward facing, right?
Yes.
NISTA stands for the National Highway Traffic Administration.
Hmm.
So this is a federal agency that regulates safety of motor vehicles and equipment in the motor vehicles, right? So they pretty much they set the standard, right?
Hmm.
So each each car seat manufacturer, they have to meet the standards of NISTA, right?
Hmm.
So which means they have to go through certain tests, like they have to have a certain amount of crash dummy tests
Gotcha.
that the car seat must pass in order for them to put it on the market, right?
Okay.
So NISTA also sets the standard that says a baby should stay rear facing as long as I think the standard is up to 2 years old. But what from my experience going through being certified as a technician through Safe Kids Worldwide, we like to tell parents to keep your kid rear facing for as long as you possibly can,
Mm-hmm.
because that is the absolutely safest position for the child.
Gotcha.
Right, just the way the car seat is manufactured, and the way the harness works, and the
Gotcha.
way that the force is received on the car seat when it's rear facing, right?
Gotcha.
Because when it's rear facing, I'm not going to say you don't have to worry about the whiplash motion. You still have to worry about it, but you have to worry about it less. Forward facing, they're damn near in the same position as an adult. You know what I'm
Gotcha.
saying? Just with a 5-point harness, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because that force that's going to hit the car, especially if you're rear-ended, you're going to get that whiplash motion, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why we want the baby facing rear facing is because their neck muscles aren't that strong, right? They're so
Mm.
small. And car accidents, you have small car accidents, you have big car accidents, but either way you go, you got a lot of force coming from being transferred from one car to another car, and that's a lot on the body, especially for a baby, right? We're
Mm-hmm.
adults, we're big, we got big chests, right?
Yeah.
Or we got big neck muscles, right? So yeah, we could be hurt, but for a child, especially a baby that's between the ages of birth and 5, that could be catastrophic. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? That motion right there, right? So that's where your fatalities come from. That's where your
Mm.
serious injuries come from, right?
Wow.
So that's the infant carrier, right? Then you have a convertible.
Mm-hmm.
You go from an infant carrier to a convertible. The question that I get asked a lot is, well, when do we transfer? And a convertible can go rear facing as well, right? You would go from a infant carrier to a rear facing convertible, because I'm sure you notice as your child gets older, they get heavier, right?
Hello.
They get heavier and heavier.
Yeah.
So it's hard to be carrying them around in that. So now you want to get a convertible, still face it rear facing, but now you're picking the baby up instead of
Mm-hmm.
picking the whole carrier up.
Yeah.
I found that to be a lot more convenient once my kid got to be 40 pounds. You know what I'm saying? And
Yes.
I'm trying to pick him up and lock him into that base. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? So so infant carrier, convertible. You have what's called a combination. A combination car seat is only for forward facing. You cannot place a combination rear facing, right? So
Mm.
you would go to a combination after the baby reaches the age and or the height limit to be facing forward, right? So that's a common. Combinations aren't super. They're not super popular, but they are out there,
Got
right?
you. Does
And
weight play a factor into this?
absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. You cannot change a baby from rear facing to forward facing without the baby either meeting the limits, weight limit, or the height limit, right?
Okay.
So each car seat is different, right?
Yes.
And then you have some car seats that say, oh, this car seat is good. This car seat is good up to 65 pounds when the baby is in the car seat. So you're counting the weight of the baby and you're counting the weight of the car
Mm.
seat, right? Then you have some car seats like the infant carrier. The infant carrier is usually good from 4 pounds probably to about 35 to 45 pounds.
Okay.
The beauty part about the car seats, which I love, is all the information that you need to know is on the side of the car seat, and I'll
Yes.
show you that later.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that. You know what I'm saying? When I first got my car seat, I didn't realize that everything that I need to know is on the side of the car seat in English and in Spanish.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So they make it super easy, and then you can always refer to your vehicle manual too for car seat information.
I didn't
Um,
know that that played a part.
yes, yes, you have to. So anytime I go to do a demonstration, first thing I want to look at, the information on the side of the car seat, and then I want to look at the car seat manual, because the safest position for a baby is the middle position, the rear middle position, right? That's the safest position,
Interesting.
right? I didn't know that. I didn't know that before I took the class and
Wow.
became a certified tech. And the reason being is because if you get hit from either side, I mean, you can still be affected, but there's a better chance of you not being affected if you're in that middle position as opposed to being on either side. You know what I'm saying? Because if you get hit, if the car accident, if the crash is hit on the side that the baby is on, that could be catastrophic, right? That
Mm-hmm.
could be bad.
Mm-hmm.
So putting them in that middle position, you give them a chance. You give them a better chance of not being affected so much
And
by
that's
the
for
car
rear
seat.
facing.
That's for rear facing or forward facing.
Because I was thinking in my My thought process was if they're in the middle and they're front facing, then the chances of them going through the window.
I can understand that why that would be a concern. That definitely makes sense. However, those car seats, they're designed to make sure those babies don't.
Cannot go from the bottom or.
No, they're designed to make sure the babies don't are not ejected.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean it can't happen,
Right.
right? But they're designed for that. That's what NISTA. That's why NISTA mandates
Hmm.
that the manufacturers of the car seats do the crash test dummy test.
And I was going to ask, so that plays a part in also where you're buckling the child's chest harness too.
Yes.
Because I that's something that I noticed too. If my baby, if he can get out, he gonna get out. And so I learned the higher I put his chest harness, the less he's able to put his hands through and get himself out of the car seat.
Yeah.
So just something I'm learning. Maybe I could be a installation tech or something. I
You
don't know.
absolutely can. I'll
You
be
know,
having classes here coming up pretty
are
soon.
you hiring? And what's the pay? Can I quit my day job? If I can't quit my day job, I'm not coming.
I would say you probably couldn't quit your day job.
Okay. Okay. Well,
And right now, I'm just doing like all my services are free.
oh, okay. That's
So I
nice to
don't I
know.
don't I don't get paid for my services. But are we gonna touch on the harness a little later?
No, we can touch on it now.
So the harness position is very important,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because the retainer clip is a part of the 5 point harness, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why that's so important is because that divides the force from the car accident across the whole body,
Mm-hmm.
right? As opposed to me and you, we sit in regular seatbelts, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we only got 2 points of contact. We got a point shoulder and then our hip, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then there's that lap portion that comes. So those are the only thing that's protected. So when we get into a car crash, what's going to happen? We're usually gonna have some pain right here in
Mm-hmm.
our sternum because that's where most of that force is gonna come from. Because we're gonna have that whiplash motion. Depending on how hard it is going to determine how much force this sternum piece right here takes. Right.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing for the baby, especially when they're forward facing. Right.
Mm-hmm.
That 5 point harness because you have 5 parts. You have the 2 up here and you have the 3 coming between their legs. So that's going to help the car seat distribute that force.
Mm-hmm.
So all that force isn't just going to
Their
their
chest.
chest.
Mm-hmm.
That can cause significant down. That
Oh
can
wow.
cause a fatality. You know what I'm saying? So that retainer clip placement is very important,
Mm-hmm.
and it should be right on the chest line, right in between the nipples. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So you go from shoulder here, and it should be right here.
Mm-hmm.
A common mistake that I see is it's usually in the neck or it's usually in the stomach.
Got
You
you.
don't want that,
Okay.
because in the event, God forbid, you have a car accident and that harness or that retainer clip isn't in the correct position,
Mm-hmm.
you got a problem.
Wow.
You can have a fatal problem. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? That's going to cause a lot of damage to that baby.
Wow.
So that's very important. So when I do a education or a safety check, right, I have my sheet, and on this sheet, I have a list of things that I'm checking, a list of things that I'm talking to parents about, right?
Yeah.
So I'm just going to read off the list. So one of the things, starting the very first thing is the child within the manufacturer's recommended height and weight ranges, right? Because what I see is you have parents who want to put their kids in a booster seat because it's convenient or because it's cheap, right?
Mm-hmm.
And their kid isn't ready for a booster seat,
Mm-hmm.
right? And in order to be, I think the weight requirement for a booster seat is 65 pounds, right? Every car seat is different, but the booster seats that I have and that I deal with, you have to be at least 65 pounds, right? And what you'll see is you will see a parent say, well, he's a big kid, you know what I'm
Mm.
saying? And at every event that I have a scale. Right, because a big kid don't mean you 65 pounds. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
My idea big and your idea big might be different.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to keep a kid in a 5 point harness for as long as I possibly can.
Yes.
That's the information that I'm giving a parent because we have too many car accidents, in Arizona specifically for us to be taking a chance on, well, I'm just gonna get him as long as he's in something. No, because if he's in a booster seat, a no back booster seat, and he or she is not tall enough
Mm-hmm.
or weigh enough,
Mm-hmm.
that's gonna hurt that child. That could
Mm-hmm.
potentially cause death, right? And I don't want that, right? The biggest reason why I got into this field is because I honestly believe that children are innocent.
Yeah.
Children don't ask to be here,
Mm-hmm.
right? So because they don't ask to be here, because they're so precious, the least I can do is try to protect them the best way that I can, especially when they're in a moving vehicle, right?
Yes.
This day and age, we have cars that, driverless cars now. You know what I'm saying?
This is
So
crazy.
it's not a lot of people catching a bus, and not a lot of people catching
Mm-hmm.
public transportation. Everybody got a car now. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? So if everybody's driving on these streets, the least I can do is try to make sure that our babies are safe.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And
So
so that's
that's
why we're
huge.
here to
That's what.
educate these moms.
Thank you again for having me.
You're welcome.
Continuing down on the list, though, you got the is the harness installed correctly,
Okay.
right? What happens a lot is I'll get a car seat, and the car seat, the harness, they're twisted up.
Mm.
You got one harness that's higher than the other. They're broken. They're ripped. If I see anything like that, I have to replace that. I
Yeah.
can't let you. A twist, as long as I can untwist it and it's not damaged. You know what I'm saying? Because of the twist, that's cool. We can rock with that. But if it's cut a little bit, if it's a crack in a car seat, I can't let you leave like that because it's not safe. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?
I laughed a little bit because for whatever reason, my baby car seats stay getting twisted. Like I don't understand how. And my baby has thrown up, has number two in the car seat. I got to take it apart and wash it. I be ready to just throw the whole car seat away and just buy another one because like it never gets put back together the same way it was before.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I thought that was funny because I'm definitely the mom that is all twisted up.
Yeah.
But now I gotta go to the car and make sure my baby is safe because
Or you could just come to an event, schedule an appointment, and I could, you know what I'm saying?
that too.
I could give you a more. I mean, I'm gonna give you a little more hands-on a little later too.
Yeah.
With the demonstration,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, I'm glad that we're shedding some light on this, right?
Yeah.
Because you talking about the moms, but there's a lot of single dads out there too. You know what I'm saying?
You're
And
right.
grandparents, right?
Yes.
Grandparents who are raising
Make sure you
babies.
stand up for these
You know
single
what I'm saying? I
dads.
got to. I mean, I'm not a single dad, but I can't imagine being a single dad.
Yeah.
Any single parent, I tip my hat off. I'm married, so me and my wife, we work well together as a team with our two kids, but I can't imagine, and I'm gone a lot because I'm at work for 24 hours at a time, right?
Yeah.
So she likes to say that she's a single mom sometimes.
She
and
gets
I
to
get
experience it.
Yeah, she gets to experience the single mom life a tad bit, just a tad bit.
A little more than a tab, but I get it. I get it, Dad.
So I get it, you know what I'm saying? And for dads, like all the dads that come to either a class or come to an event, they looking at me like, damn, I didn't know that. Damn, I didn't know that. And it's kind of sometimes, dads get embarrassed.
Yeah.
And then you got some dads, man, I don't need no class, man. I know how to do it. It's like, it's cool, you know what I'm saying? But my job is just to make sure the baby is safe. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna put my ego aside. I'm not judging you at all, bro, because I didn't know none of this stuff either. You know, if I didn't go through that class, I would be in the same boat as everybody else, right?
Yes.
So yeah, I just want to make sure we represent for the single dads out there.
Shout out to the single dads.
You know what I'm saying?
That's watching the Moody Kids Momcast.
Yeah,
Shout out to
I'm
y'all.
sure you got some dads out there.
You're right.
You know what I'm saying?
You're right.
This is important. The harness straps, right? This is a thing where it's kind of like your discretion, a parent's discretion, right? Like we want them. I want to teach you to make sure those straps are snug.
Yes.
Snug to the point to where you shouldn't be able to grab the harness like this, right? But you also don't want it too tight to where you're cutting off, their breath either. You know what I mean? So we do have what's called a pinch test, and we talked about that a little bit. But we have what's called the pinch test. So you tighten it up. I like to put my hand in between the retainer clip and the chest like this as I'm tightening. And then I'll do the pinch, because you still want the baby to be comfortable.
Gotcha.
Right? You don't want to cut off the airway, the airflow, and the circulation. You don't want to cut none of that off. But you do want them to be safe, right? And you want them to be snug enough inside that car seat, so when there is some force, when there is a crash, they're not moving around a lot.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's the purpose of having that pinch test and having those harness straps tight and snug. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I like to have. It's better to have the child there when I'm doing a demonstration. That way we're dealing with real life. It's not like we're imagining a child there,
Yeah.
so we're gonna make it as tight as we can.
Mm-hmm.
No, I like for the parent to be able to see, okay, well that might be a little too tight. You know what I'm saying? You see he or she is kind of struggling breathing,
Mm-hmm.
or that might be a little too loose because you can still pull some of that harness. So
Yeah.
it's better for me. It's not mandatory. You don't have to have the child there, but it's better for everybody when the child is actually there, because now we're dealing with like a real life scenario. You
Yes.
know what I'm saying? Um, the retainer clip. We talked about the retainer clip. Is the seat facing the right direction? That is huge. We talked about that already. Is the seat installed at a correct angle? The seat must be installed at the correct angle, right? So on the car seat, sometimes they have little levels, like the more expensive ones have little levels,
Mm-hmm.
and then some of the less expensive ones, they just have a red line,
Yeah.
right? So for a rear facing car seat, you want it to be, you don't want it to be at a 90, and you don't want it to be at a 180,
Mm-hmm.
right? You want it to be somewhere in between, maybe like a 145-degree angle, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they teach us in class there's what's called an eye test, right? Because before you can install a car seat and it looks like it's the right angle, but when you put the baby in, the baby's gonna weigh it down a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So it might be at the perfect angle before the baby gets in, but then when you put it down, it moves. So now it's a
Mm-hmm.
little off.
Mm-hmm.
If you have the eye test, the main thing, especially rear facing, the main thing you want to make sure, you just want to make sure the baby isn't all the way back, because their lungs and their muscles are so
Mm.
small that if their head is back like this, it can cut off their airflow, right?
Mm.
If it's at a 90, now they're sitting up like this, and now they're, babies have those big old heads, right? So they don't have control over those big old heads. So if got them sitting at a 90, now their head is dropped down like that, and that
Mm-hmm.
can also cut off the airflow for the child.
Yeah.
So that's why the angle is very important, right?
Gotcha.
So if I have a forward facing child, usually when you're forward facing, you're probably around 2 or 3 years old. Your neck muscle is a little stronger.
Mm-hmm.
I still don't want you to be at a 90, right?
Gotcha.
Even though the neck muscles are strong, you can hold up your head, so it's a little better. We still don't want you at a solid 90. You shouldn't be at a 90-degree angle probably until you're in a booster seat.
Gotcha.
You know what I
Okay.
mean? But the angle is definitely important. Facing the right direction, angle. The safety belt isn't in locking mode. So another thing that happens, this doesn't happen that much, but when people come, if they're used, so there's two ways to install a car seat. You have the seatbelt method, and you have what's called the latch method, right? Do you know what a latch is?
The latch method. No.
So those are the latches that are in the crease of your seats.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? They got those little buttons. I'll show you on my chair, but that's called the latch system. I like to use those because they're super easy, right? The Graco car seats, they come with little buttons,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you can just press it and it
Yeah.
releases. Some of the other ones, they don't have that button, so you have to press
Push.
it with your finger.
Yeah.
And that can be tough, right? So
Frustrating.
very frustrating and hard.
Especially when it's hot outside and you had a car wash and you just want to get all the cookies from underneath the seat that your baby threw, and they over there screaming, and you trying your hardest to just jiggle it a little bit so it could just come on off. Yeah.
Yeah.
Too many
I
times.
can relate to that. I can.
Do you
relate
hear
to
the
that.
pain?
I do.
in my-
I can see
okay.
it. Yeah.
Cool.
If you're using the seatbelt mode, right, the seatbelt system, some people, they don't lock the seatbelt, right? The seatbelt isn't in a locking position, which is bad because if you install it that way, well, that means the car seat can move if it's an abrupt stop,
Or if you
it's
make
an
that
accident.
left and then you look back
Exactly.
and your baby like this. Yeah. Happened to me way too many times.
Yeah. So you want to make sure that that's locked, right? And I'll show you that too. I can show you that better, and I can explain it to you, because there are several different types of retractors in the car, right? A lot of them, I think cars 2014 and recent and newer, they're making them where they're
Auto locks.
not yeah, I guess you can call it an auto lock, but it's an emergency locking yeah, it is called an automatic locking system, right? So if you pull it too hard, it'll lock, right? And then and that's good, because if you hit your brakes hard, it locks.
It's good for that, but it's not good when you pulling it all the way out and then you hear that part where it's like, okay, now I'm trying to put the car seat in, but I need a little more room. But every time I give, it's pulling back.
Yep.
So now I just gotta start the
Yep.
whole. it's
Yeah.
not good for those moments.
Yeah.
Like when the car is on and you feel that we emotion kick in, it needs to be a little bit smarter. I need technology to catch up because they're not working for these moms that be outside in the summer heat. Okay,
I feel you. I feel you. The more you do it, though, the more you get used to it.
for
You know what
sure,
I'm saying?
for sure.
And you talking to somebody who does it very often,
Yeah,
so it's easy for me to just get in there, boom, 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 boom,
yeah.
and just knock it out real quick. But for a first time parent, a first time mom, you know, maybe even a mom that is pregnant, right,
Mm-hmm.
who's 7, 8, 9 months pregnant, who's ready to go, it's going to be a little more challenging, right? But we teach a bunch of different techniques to for everybody. You know what I'm
I'm telling
saying?
you, I could have used your class because my baby sister, who does not have any children, had to install my car seat, and I'm just looking at her like, how do you know? Like, why do you know this information?
Yeah.
Talk about she a auntie. Okay, okay, sis.
She got them auntie powers.
You
So a correct angle, locking mode, a locking clip. We'll talk about a locking clip when I do the demonstration. The tether. So the tether is very important. Do you remember what the tether is?
no.
The tether is the part that goes. So you only use it for forward facing, right? And it's the part that goes in the back of your seat. Or if you have a sedan, it goes in the window. They have little hooks in the window,
Mm,
and that keeps the car seat from doing this motion. You know what I'm
mm,
saying? In the event of a crash, right? There, it's a tether, so it's a harness, just like on the baby's chest, but it just goes from the car seat to the back, and you just
mm.
you connect it, and you just pull it tight, so it keeps the baby from
Now that
having
is
that
something
motion.
I can't wait for the demonstration because I don't use it.
Hmm.
And honestly, I seen it on car seats, but I just,
You thought it was an extra part, didn't you?
it's just here for decorations, not
just in case
necessarily
just in case you
important.
need that. You know what I'm saying? Um, make sure the safety belt is routed correctly. Sometimes, and these are all older. Like a lot of the newer car seats now,
Hmm.
they're coming to where you don't really have to touch the belts, right? You have a button that you could push to adjust it up and down, things like that. But for those who still have the older car seats, sometimes they're just not routed correctly. You know what I mean? So that's something that I look for. And then is the latch system used correctly, right? So this is the entire checklist that I go through. You know what I'm saying, when I do a demonstration, when I do a check or a demonstration, right?
Got you.
And car seats expire. Most people don't know that car seats expire, right? Car seats, the average car seat has about a 7 to 10 year lifespan, and I didn't know that. I thought, once you get a car seat, it's good to go. But that's not the case. Car seats do expire. I'll show you during the demonstration where you can find the sticker, because every car seat has a sticker on it, and it tells you the day that it was manufactured. And once you get close to the 7 to 10 year mark, you want to look to get another one, right? Um, so that's what would cause me to replace a car seat if it's damaged,
Hmm.
if it's been in a car accident. A lot of people don't like to hear this, but if you've been in a car accident with a
I
car
was going to
seat,
bring that up.
right, and any airbag deployed, it doesn't have to be a car seat next to the child, but any airbag deployed, if anybody is hurt, if anybody has to go to the hospital, or if there's any cracks or any damage done to the car seat, you got to get a new car seat.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So that your airbag can deploy just on a simple fender bender, a
Yep.
minor fender bender.
Hmm.
And the national safety standards say if an airbag deploys, you need to replace that car seat.
Yeah.
So that's why I encourage people, do not take hand-me-down car seats.
Hmm.
And I know and this is another reason why I created this business, because car seats are expensive.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So through grants and donations, I'm able to get car seats, right? So I'd rather have a baby in a brand new car seat that I
Hmm.
know is safe,
Yeah.
as opposed to having a car seat that may have been in a car accident,
Hmm.
and it may not work the way it's supposed to work. You know what I'm saying?
So, where do you recommend someone to take their car seat if it's been into an accident?
You could take it to me. You could take it to your local fire department. Um, you as Target, I don't know. I think they do it once or twice a year, but I know Target, they have it where you can go take old and used and damaged
They
car
do. They
seats.
have car seat events where they want you to turn in your old car seats, and they'll give
They'll
you
give you
a
credit.
discount or
Yeah,
something for you to purchase
yeah.
anything of a baby, not just a car seat, but it could be a toy, something for the kids to enjoy. I think that's a dope event to participate in because it is giving unsafe car seats off the street.
Yeah.
Because people, parents, mothers, dads are desperate. And so sometimes it's best to have a car seat, in their opinion, than to not have a car seat. But there's options such as your nonprofit
Yep.
that are out here helping moms and dads, parents get the support that they need. I did have another question. I wanted to know, um, do you recommend registering your car seat?
Absolutely.
What's the
100%.
importance behind that?
So the importance is, so every car seat that you buy brand new, it comes with a registration card on the harness, right?
Mm-hmm.
You'll see that on the one that I bring in. And the importance of filling that out is because technology is changing, everything is advancing. Just because they put car seats on the shelf to be sold, don't mean that they stop testing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there may be a recall, right, on the car
Mm,
seat that you bought a month ago or a year ago, right? And if you don't register that, if you don't submit that little card and send that to that manufacturer, you have no way of knowing that there's a defect,
mm-hmm.
right? It's like buying a vehicle. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? So if you register it, they send you a notice to say, hey, there's been a recall on this car seat, or so they might send you a new car seat, or
Gotcha.
hey, there was a defect in this car seat, so we're going to send you a replacement piece, or we might just send you another car seat. So that's the importance of registering that car seat.
All right. So this is going to be my last question. Can you share a success story from your experience that highlights the importance of proper car seat use?
Um, a success story. I don't know if I have a success story because usually people, they come, we do the demonstration or we do the safety class, um, and I don't never see them again.
Mm-hmm.
Typically, I could tell you that I've been on a call at work,
Mm-hmm.
and there was a really bad car accident, and oh man, it was a really bad car accident. It was actually a rollover car accident,
Mm.
and as soon as I got up to the car, I noticed that there was a baby in the car, and they were in a car seat, and the car seat was in a position. The baby was upset and crying, which is a good sign for me,
Yes.
right? In an emergency, something like that, I want the baby to be crying because if
Yes.
the baby isn't making noise, that's a problem. That
Mm-hmm.
typically means that something is wrong.
Yeah.
So the fact that the baby was making a lot of noise and screaming and crying, it allowed me to calm down a little bit.
Yeah.
The reason why this is a success story is because because I'm an engineer, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we get the baby out, we get the patients in the ambulance, and my crew goes with the patient.
Yeah.
As an engineer, I'm responsible for the truck, so
Yes.
I stay with the truck. So I was able to kind of get in there and tug on the car seat and make sure and see what type of condition the car seat was in. The car seat wouldn't move.
That's
Whoever
good.
whoever installed that car seat, I would love to take the credit, but it wasn't me. But
Yeah.
whoever installed that car seat, they installed that car seat correctly,
Yeah.
right? And the
Save the
baby
child life.
survived. The baby survived, but the two patients in the other two patients, adult patients, they didn't survive.
Wow.
So I wouldn't call it a success story, but
It
I
saves
mean, maybe
lives.
maybe maybe it is a success story if we just talking about the car seat and how the car seat can save a life, right?
Yeah.
But the overall picture, it's a lot of trauma
Mm.
that's going on in that one call. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? Now the baby is parentless. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? And you know what goes on with that.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean
Reality.
that's the reality of it, and that is an example of how
Mm-hmm.
a car seat can save a life,
Yeah.
right? I've been on car accidents where I go in and there's no child in there,
Mm.
and I've been conditioned to the first thing I do when I see a car seat, whether there's a child in there or not, I'm going to see if the car seat is in there correctly.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can, so we have this thing called the inch test,
Mm-hmm.
right? So when you install a car seat, it shouldn't move left to right no more than an inch.
Mm-hmm.
If it moves more left and right more than an inch, it's not tight enough,
Mm.
right? So I go on this call. It's a minor fender bender. There's no child in the car seat, and I just go in there and I just give it a tug. And that thing moved probably about
Mm.
10 inches both
Mm.
ways. You know what I mean? So I told the parent, I said, "Do you mind if I fix this for you? If I show you how to do this?"
Mm-hmm.
They were okay with me doing it, so I tightened it up and showed them how to do it, and I had them redo it. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? So that happens pretty often. My crew kind of gets mad at me a little bit because we end up spending a little more time there.
Going over
You know
and
what I'm
beyond.
saying?
It's hot
Yeah,
out here.
it
Let's get
is.
up
It
out this
is.
heat
But
in this uniform.
forget that heat. You know, we gotta make sure these babies are safe. You know what I'm saying? And
Exactly.
that's my priority, to make sure these babies are safe.
That's
So
beautiful. Well, I appreciate you coming on to the Moody Kids Momcast. Some dads will watch.
some dads are probably watching.
But it was a pleasure, and I'm glad to get this information out to these parents, to educate them on the importance of car seat safety, as well as where to like go and get this information. So do you have a website?
I do have a website. I got a website, and I also got some other resources for parents. So my website is www.yoursafebaby.org, and that's your YOUR safe SAFEBABY.org. So on my website, you will see the services that we provide,
Okay.
the hours. You can schedule an appointment. You can schedule a consultation if you want me to come speak at. So one of the things that I'm doing right now is I'm going to female group homes. And I'm just teaching a 2-hour class where I give you the meat and potatoes of a safety inspection, what that looks like, how to install, what to look for to make sure it's installed correctly, and then I bring my chair to allow them to get some hands-on practice.
Gotcha.
So that's a 2-hour class.
Now I know you're not giving me a hard time, but you only going to women homes.
I'm just starting.
Okay.
I'm just
I
starting
better
there.
see a
I'm just starting
dad
there.
home on that
I'm just
list by
starting
the
there.
end of this month. You got 5 days.
I'm just starting there. Because the idea is to reach the people who are going to be with the children like right away.
Okay.
Right. And
no, I hear you.
And there's a bunch of women group homes out there or facilities out there that are for women and with children. You know what I'm saying? So
I'm just giving you
that's
a
the
hard
priority.
time.
You know
You got me, so I got to get you back.
It's all good. I also have a Instagram page. It's at AZProInstall.
Okay.
And then I have safekids.org. So Safe Kids is the entity that certifies technicians like myself.
Gotcha.
Right? So I just became an instructor. So now I'm able to put on classes to certify people.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? And then there's NHTSA.gov. NHTSA.gov.
Okay.
So like I said, NHTSA sets the standard. So you can go on NHTSA and you can find out if your car seat is expired by typing in the make and model. And anything that changes in regards to car seats or vehicle safety, passenger safety, NHTSA is probably going to be the first one to have it.
Gotcha.
So that's a great resource. That's where I get all my information from. Between Safe Kids and NHTSA.gov, that's pretty much my go-to when I have a question, or if someone has a question for me that I can't answer.
Gotcha.
So yeah, we also offer CPR classes too for the community.
Okay.
I had a parent tell me, she was pregnant. She said, where can I go and learn infant CPR, baby CPR? I was like, that's a good question. And I was looking around, and only thing I could find was the junior colleges. So we just added it to our programs just to kind of make it. My theory is to meet these families where they are.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
well,
yeah.
That's going to be a class I need to take too, because listen, if anybody choking around me, I'm no help. But again, it was very nice to have you here and get this information out to these parents and where they can go to get more information.
Cool. Thank you for having me.
You're
I really
very
appreciate
welcome.
it. Thank you. I'm really happy and proud of what you're doing here. You're providing this platform. You're getting a lot of information out to parents and caregivers. And I think that's dope what you're doing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Hats off to you for sure.
Thank you.